Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 3. It's Georgette.
Oh, yeah, it's Robbo Snap.
And you're listening. But I welcome it. I receive it, Snap. You are listening to Black and Nuanced Podcast, dispelling ideas that all black people are monoliths because we're not. We bring varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we just can't always name. So, welcome to Black and Nuanced. Snap, what it do? What it do?
It's all good, girl. I know it's going to be another good one today.
Yes. Okay, so listen, Snap. Last week, Amerie, people just pronounce her name differently. She's a singer. Hit it.
It's just one thing that got me tripping.
It's one thing that got me tripping.
So many minutes.
Okay, wait, no.
Oh.
Okay.
You know me.
Cut it. Okay, yep, we're good. So she dropped 2 new EPs. One's called 4 a.m. Mulholland. The second one's called After 4 a.m. Snap. Can I tell you, I was getting my life to both those EPs. And I have been telling everybody that I'm cool with. I was like, y'all need to get y'all life to this Amerie. And I was listening to it because I had talked about it on the show that I do, the morning show that I do. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stream this. And I was like, yeah, Georgette, you need to really stream this. And Snap, I mean, let me tell you my favorite songs, and I'm going to cue it in. The Wall, it's on 4 a.m. Mulholland. There's a track called 4 a.m. Mulholland. They are sexy as fuck. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. And sidebar, my mom was like, ooh, you cuss so much. She's like, ooh, Lord. And I was laughing. I was like, Mommy, this is an explicit podcast. I just, you want to share it with your doctor friends and nurses, that's fine. But just let them know I do cuss. So anyway, they're sexy as fuck. And then on the After 4 a.m. track, every track on there, Just Saying, Midnight Rain, Give It All Up. If you have not listened to Amerie's EPs, you need to go there right now. And I'm putting in the universe, Snap, that we're going to have her on the show. I want to interview her so bad. I mean, Snap, I didn't even know that I needed these songs from her. The one thing I think I really appreciated was, so she's been gone for 9 years, and her sound just sounds so evolved. I don't know if people were expecting her to come back with on the same tip as like this, one thing, or one of her popular tracks. But she still sounds the same, Snap. But there's a sound in there like I just can't describe it.
I like Amerie.
Yeah. You gotta listen to it. You haven't listened to it yet, have you?
No.
You gotta. And okay, so the other thing is they are 20 minutes a piece. She dropped 2 EPs, and I think that was a smart thing for her to do because she's been gone for 9 years, Snap. So instead of her dropping a full LP of 14 tracks where people may not have trusted it,
okay,
she dropped sound bites. So 4 a.m. Mulholland, it's like 6 tracks, 20 minutes. After 4 a.m., it's like 22 minutes. Done and done. Done and done.
Quick.
Go ahead, what were we about to say?
She stays relevant, even though she's been out of the game for 9 years.
She wrote a book, too, in those 9 years. I didn't know that.
She constantly comes down to South Florida.
Oh, does she?
Absolutely. Want to shout out Headliner Market Group. Headliner Market Group brings her down.
Oh, do they?
We do this little thing in Overtown. It's the Overtown Music and Arts Fest.
Okay.
And I don't know if when you came down, you just missed it.
I did? Okay.
But Amerie actually performed this year as well. She performed last year as well. So we see her. We see her. She's down here. She's making it happen still. And again, I think the way they receive her down here, I think that would, as an
it's
artist,
different.
So
they really rock with her down here in South Florida.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Well, they need to rock with these two new EPs. If you have not listened, I'm telling you, do not listen to what your friends have to say. Don't go off of like, oh, people thought it was trash. Bah, bah, bah. Don't compare what you think she should still sound like 9 years ago.
I hate when that happens with artists.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. That was like that with Music Soul Child with me. That first album that came out was the shit.
Oh, his first 2 albums were dope.
But then people was like, nah, he fell off because it wasn't that same vibe. And people forget that. People grow, man. And your music, when you first get your music put on, a lot of times it's pain because you go through some stuff before you could actually get that first stuff out.
To this day, Mary J. Blige's first 2 albums are well, they said that's when she was really going through it. Like she was on cocaine
that was the shit.
And all that other stuff.
Those albums
What's the 411 and
the shit.
My Life. Woo!
Yeah, the shit. I mean, like, I remember going through with my son's Okay, remember how I mentioned I had an
Yes.
older son?
Yep.
His mom, who's now remarried.
Yep.
Like, I remember when she brought the My Life album, and we would just ride out to it. It was just like, if you look in my eyes to see what I see. And it's like, damn, this woman right here actually made me really want to feel like, all right, okay, I see where you're coming from, because there are times in relationships where, as a man, I want to say shit, but I don't know how to express it.
Oh,
and
you sound like my friend. He would just send me songs.
Yeah, see, and now, right, I was like, yo, here, let me talk to you this way, you know? Yeah. So, well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, back to your point, like with Mary, with Music Soul Child, Amerie, this is a different sound for her, but this is a sound, to be honest, I fuck with. I think this is the way for her. I think this is the move. And you need to get with the program. You need to get into these EPs. They are short listens. I mean, and I was joking with my mentee in New York. She's a publicist. I said, you got to listen to these EPs. She was like, yeah, people are telling me it wasn't good. She was like, you're the only person that's told me it was good. I was just like, girl, listen to these damn EPs. I said, they are not that long. 1, 2. If they're calling it trash because they're trying to compare it to how she used to sound, nah, like that's 9 years is a long time. Like she just did something different. And I mean,
well, and some fans are afraid of different. They don't like change. If you sound a certain way and they like this song, they want you to always sound like that. And again, people grow.
Well, Rihanna's a great example of that. Perfect segue. But Rihanna's a great example of that. If you listen to her first 2 albums, like she was, like they were boxing her into a sound and a look that they wanted, like the label wanted for her.
Absolutely.
If you all didn't evolve with Rihanna, like she left you behind. By the time she got to Rated R, after everything that happened with her domestic violence situation with Chris Brown, she really became the artist that she wanted to become, and she started doing things her way.
And not that, again, touching on domestic violence or anything like that, but because of what she went through in that car that day, she totally had to transform herself. She had to go from being what we saw as a weak woman, kind of, now she's got to be this strong woman. And it's like, media do you like that, though? People, it's like, and then she couldn't, like, this man been through some stuff in his life. He done, seen his father beating on his mother. And when people sometimes think, okay, if that's accepted, then maybe what I do is accepting. And it's like, it's not. But
I think subconsciously speaking, I don't think you think about it. I think you think about it on like, is that how I get her to be quiet, or,
And then I hear some stories where, she feel that he ain't loving her unless he acting the fool. And it's like, baby, that ain't love. That's not love right there. I don't know what that extra is, but you don't have to put yourself through that. But yeah, man, artists grow, and you got me wanting to listen to this new Amerie stuff right now.
Listen, go listen to it right now. It's on Spotify. I did not see it on Tidal.
Is she in a relationship?
She's married. And she has a child.
Okay.
Reportedly, let me say reportedly, she's reportedly still married.
Okay.
But the EPs are on Spotify. I just kicked back in my Apple Music because they gave me 30 days free again.
There you go.
But I actually downloaded the songs that I like. I paid for it. So Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, just go listen to it. Tell them Georgette Star sent you. I'm kidding. The Wall, 4 a.m. Mulholland, For the Lovers, Give It All Up, Midnight Rain, Don't Say a Word, Just Saying. That is crazy that I remember every fucking track.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Is it anything to do with love in those tracks? What am I talking about here? What am I going to be listening to? Give me a feel of the vibe. Is this something that I could sit down with my lady?
My girl. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out to my girl Phoebes. She was like sexy trap music. Hey, I didn't get trap from it, but it is sexy as fuck. And let me say sexy to the point where guys can vibe out to it.
There you go.
Guys can vibe out to it. I mean, listen, I'm going to insert songs and the outro music. I'm gonna switch it to an Amerie song. Like, y'all gonna fuck with it. I'm gonna give y'all like good 10 to 15 seconds. It's just dope. Listen to it. And anyone that said it was trash, Georgette is saying otherwise. I am co-signing Amerie's EPs. Who am I to co-sign? I was an A&R in my past life. Trust me when I tell you.
Credits.
Listen to it.
Credits. Resumes.
Listen to it. Anyways, going into our main squeeze topic, Rihanna. Super Bowl's coming up. So I don't know Roman numerals like that. What Super Bowl number is this?
Something like 50 something, but I don't know.
See, I thought you knew. You know,
nah, man, I'm funny like that, right?
I thought you were into you weren't into sports.
I'm into sports, right? As an overall whole. Like I'll be watching ESPN and I'll see what goes on, but I'm not like recording that in my head. So if you ask me what happened 2 games ago, I can't tell you. But I know when LeBron and his
53rd.
Lakers. Okay, see, there you go. I know it was over 50. So when LeBron and Houston had that game the other day, and they got into that little
well, LeBron wasn't part of it. It was Rajon Rondo.
Well, he wasn't in the physical altercation.
Yeah, because I saw that they were replaying.
You know, we got to when you talk about the Lakers, you got to throw LeBron out there now. You got to say shady. LeBron and the Lakers.
Shady
but
boots.
yeah, we know it was with Rondo and Chris Paul.
So you're not into sports like that?
Nah, I'll see it. I'll blah blah blah.
That's
but
fair.
you know what? You know why? Because I was a New York Knicks fan forever. They ain't win.
I can't.
I've been a New York Mets fan, and we ain't win
salty.
since 86, 87.
You're salty.
It's
okay.
I've been a Syracuse fan. We ain't win since Carmelo. So when Carmelo went back to New York, I was like, all right, we bring it.
I mean, I don't know the game of football at all. I just tell me when the halftime show's coming on, but I will sit and rock out with you. And I just know that if I don't know anything about the game, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to interrupt people's games. It was so funny. So before we get into this story real quick, I have to say it because it was the funniest thing. So my guy friend he's into college football.
Mm-hmm.
And I had called him and he was like, babe, you know I'm watching the game.
Yeah.
So I was correcting. He was so intense. I was like, my bad. I was just trying to see where you were to come kick it. And that meant he was so intense. That shit was the funniest thing. And I was like, I respect it. You know, people put money on these games, and I'm like, it's never that serious for me, but I'm also not into football, so I don't know.
Well, that's what it is. See, and again, people's passion about sports
but
can
sports
run deep.
Boston is a major city for sports.
Well, you know, because when you winning, you can celebrate and you can jump on the bandwagon, you know, all kinds of things. But I'm not going to sit here and say I just don't follow sports. I watch the Dolphins every Sunday. It's like I know they 4-3 right now, but again, the Dolphins scare me because I'm like, yo, we'll be winning and then we lose, or we can be losing and then come back for a win. So it's like, all right, you know.
How does that scare you, Steph?
Yeah, because it's like I want to support this team, but I've been a loser fan my whole life. You know what I mean? I supported the wrong teams my whole life. So even coming to Miami, like I had a best friend who was a huge Miami Heat fan. And I ain't even gonna lie, I was an Alonzo Mourning fan because he went to Georgetown. I was a big Georgetown fan, like the whole Allen Iverson thing, Patrick Ewing, you know, that was, you know, I'm passionate about basketball. Former player, you know, I even received a check to get to play one time. So, you know, again, I think that's why I fall back from sports, because I lived it for a long time. But when it comes to just overall this whole football thing, I fell back a lot because of the whole protesting thing. I wanted to support it, you know, then I know that.
So this is a perfect segue. You're talking about with football.
Right, absolutely.
So, okay, so let's talk about that. So Rihanna, just so people know, and I only found this out like maybe a couple of years ago, anybody that's asked to perform during the Super Bowl does not get paid.
Absolutely not.
But what has been proven in the research is their sales, their music sales skyrocket. When Missy Elliott came out during Katy Perry's performance, they said people that didn't know who Missy Elliott was, like they were on there and all this other stuff. Like, it astronomically jumps, right? Like sales just astronomically jump because of your exposure during the Super Bowl. So
Absolutely.
They said allegedly Rihanna declined the Super Bowl halftime show offer in support of Colin Kaepernick. And other things came out that Pink was possibly asked to perform, but they're not sure if she declined because of that as well. And then Amy Schumer said she didn't want to perform in any, or she didn't want to be in any Super Bowl commercials, and says Maroon 5 should pull out of the halftime show. And we should support our brothers and sisters of color. So what do you think about, at least let's talk about Rihanna and Amy Schumer. Rihanna, she's a woman of color. Do you think Amy Schumer, is there any type of effect? Do you think there's going to be any type of effect with an Amy Schumer? Like Rihanna has never publicly said that she declined it because of this, but they're saying sources, insiders close to Rihanna. But Amy Schumer went on Instagram, and I just want to read some of the comments that she said. She says, I wonder why more white players aren't kneeling. Schumer said on Instagram, Once you witness the truly deep inequality and endless racism people of color face in our country, not to mention the police brutality and murders, why not kneel next to your brothers? Otherwise, how are you not complicit? I think it would be cool if Maroon 5 backed out of Super Bowl like Bad Girl Riri did. Do you think Amy Schumer, in all of her whiteness, will have any type of effect on just people feeling this way about the support of Colin Kaepernick? Is all support for Colin Kaepernick good support? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, it sways both sides, and then it's.
By the way, I have no problem with Amy Schumer. But she was even acknowledging, like, in all her whiteness of her not wanting to be in the Super Bowl commercials. I just don't know how effective.
Well, she has a huge following.
Okay.
I mean, Amy Schumer has a huge following, and so I've never tried to mix politics with sports, even though they try and say blah, blah, blah. So when, the president was tweeting about, the SOBs, not blah, blah, blah. And it falls on the owner. And unfortunately with the NFL, it's like one of these things. This is a private entity, okay? And when you have a private entity, you as the owner make the rules. So if you say, yo, listen, everybody on my team is going to stand for this anthem. If you want to check, you're going to stand. Mm-hmm. If you are fighting the system, and just disrespecting the rules of the team play, then you should be fined or you should be fired.
But does anyone know why he actually kneeled? They said,
Okay, well, let's go back. Let's go back to why he originally kneeled.
But
so he wasn't originally kneeling. He was originally sitting on the bench when this happened. And because a former vet of the services said to him, yo, Colin, it seems disrespect for you to sit. I would rather you take the approach of kneeling, because in kneeling, not only do you bring yourself to still honor certain things, but he gave a great example of even when you're trying to show your respect, you're not disrespecting the flag, you're just trying to send a message, that this, and again, media took that. He didn't go nowhere and say, hey, coach, I'm going to sit down and do this, or he didn't. They focused on him in the preseason and then started asking the questions and then made it this whole big what it shouldn't have been, and they totally changed the message.
He asked what would be the most respect, or he got the blessing. It's either, I don't know which order it is, but regardless, he wanted to know what would be the most respectful way.
And this officer said the best way would be to kneel.
And everybody just went ham about it.
And then, he gave the example of when you are in that moment and you trying to secure something with your future to be, what do you do as a man? You kneel on one knee, right? And you ask her, things like that. Yep. This is not a form of disrespect in any way, but the way media is responsible for a lot of what goes on in this country.
That's of course
a lot,
right.
Because I think that media has the power to use their platform to show good in the black community, to show good all around, and not just all the shootings and shit that's going on in the black community, all the shit that's wrong in our community. And when you paint a picture like that, I had a talk with one of my, I'm on Xbox. I'll play Xbox Live with a few other friends from, out of the state or whatever. And one dude I was speaking to couldn't believe that in this country today, there are still places where there are all white schools. And I'm like, you better get on Google and do some research.
South,
like he didn't understand.
You don't think about it though, because if you're not around it.
So now when this person of high school who's never been around black people and only see this on the news about black people worldwide, what is the picture painted when I'm introduced to you in college? I am this savage coming from the, we all we all on welfare. All
right,
kinds. We all ain't got no daddy at home.
Well, this is where I'm wondering. So tying it back, like with the whole protesting, tying it back now, why do you think? And I'm just asking it as a blanket question. Amy Schumer stepped up as a white woman. Why don't you think more white people are speaking up?
Out of fear.
Fear of what? Losing money, losing endorsements. Because they enjoy their privilege. Out of fear of what?
I can't answer that because I'm not white.
Of course
not.
But
at the end of the day, what I see is there are players, even in the NFL, who, will go as far as, I'm not going to kneel, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my arm around you as you kneel, or I'm going to put my arm around your shoulder as you raise your fist.
Isn't that crazy, though?
So I want to support
you. You don't want to speak up?
I can't. And it's backlash. I think there's a fear that white folk is going to get backlash from other white folk. And it's like, but
they are going to still be all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
The kids will still be all right. Y'all will still, I'm saying kids as far as white people, y'all will still be all right.
But I think what it is, and it's unfortunate, but you got to date back to history, and it's gonna be a set of white folk like your Amy Schumers, like the head coach for the Dallas Mavericks. Even though I know I don't even want to use that example.
Mark Cuban?
Mark Cuban, but he's got his own personal issues because his business was on some funny stuff. I mean, the people that he had in positions of power were, just doing people wrong. And so, anyway. But Mark Cuban spoke up big time about, what's right in this country. The San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich spoke out about the things that Trump would say and things like that. So there is support. And then behind that, there'll be backlash behind that. But if you go back even to the civil rights movement, if we didn't have those strong white folk on our side, that movement wouldn't have been what it was, because we didn't have the rights. It was like, to an extent, it was like, I remember, like watching something to where the president's aides went down, and because he was on the side of, doing the right thing with MLK, I mean, they beat his ass. And I mean, they beat his ass to where he was damn near dying underneath a car or something like that. But it wasn't until then where, it was like when they beat up on the white dude, like they would have been beat up on the black people. That shit was acceptable. It was like we was getting hosed and caned and dogs and shit like that. But they weren't doing it to the white folk who was a part of the movement. I don't think to an extent that they was doing black folk. But again, without those courageous white folk, I don't think
she helped. She's helping.
I think she wants to help.
So I guess let me rephrase this question. So Schumer chiming in, you think helps or hurts the cause?
I think it helps the cause to an extent. Now, she'll receive backlash for it.
I don't think she will.
But yeah, because again, there's still a lot of people who feel that they are privileged in this country. And I think that's the whole thing. So I think that's what it is. It's like white folk want to stand up. White folk know what the right thing is. White folk know when you're doing somebody wrong. But again, sometimes peer pressure plays a role. I mean, if I stand up, how's my other friends going to feel? Or how's the friends that I got who I'm trying to get on their level going to feel about things like that? So there's always a movement to try and make things better. I love when I hear a positive story about a white person down for the cause, because at the end of the day, if we are all equal, I think we are a stronger country. I think we're a greater country. I think we move in the right direction when we start siding with each other. And I think that's what Trump brought to the table. It's like, maybe you never saw it before. I mean, I heard Kanye say Bush didn't like black people, but I ain't never see tiki torches and marches and shit when Bush was in office.
Oh, I know. It's only been coming out with 45.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But again, there are many white folk who stood up against that. Like, that is dead wrong. Who are you? A lady lost her life in a rally when she was smashed by that car of that reckless driver who, again,
was driving through, right,
doing the wrong thing. I'm not going to sit here and call him a neo-Nazi because I don't know the background story or anything like that. But
do you think her call for Maroon 5? They're not going to back out of that.
That's extra pressure on somebody. Don't tell me what I can do and what I can't do, because now that you put that out there, it's like, if I say, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. Now you're going to have a whole set of fans who didn't have anything to do with not liking me now may not like me.
No, I think it's a couple of different things. The way I see it is, one, Maroon 5 is probably like, no, this is a great opportunity. Business, right? You're always going to think business first. Two,
absolutely,
they may not agree with your views about Colin Kaepernick, but they're not publicly saying it.
Right, so that's another thing.
So are they complicit? She thinks they're complicit. She's offering her opinion about them. She says if they perform, they're complicit. I just think people look at the Super Bowl as an opportunity, but what's the fucked up part is but the Super Bowl is the NFL, and the NFL doesn't support, all this other stuff.
Well, okay, the NFL supports paying their players to perform on the field.
That's
so. Again, what happened was they're taking sponsorship from the armed forces, and in taking that sponsorship, that's why we have this celebrated national anthem now displayed with the flag coming out.
It's still a business. It's
Absolutely.
still a business at the end of the day.
And because the NFL is getting that money, they're going to follow procedure. So now if you have a stance against it, no one had a stance against the country. The whole argument was inequality, police brutality, and just the right to have fair treatment and equal everything. And that's what the whole argument was. But we took it to a whole nother.
No, but there was a reported collusion against him getting on any team, and so that's where the bigger issue was, and that's all. Well,
the whole collusion. Remember, again, 32 teams in the NFL, and
he has a lawsuit against them, and they're allowing the court is allowing the lawsuit to push forward.
Absolutely, and one of the players on the 49ers who actually knelt with him was fired, but now he's back.
I read about that,
and okay, so again, I want to say, but that's not every owner. There are owners who say, I'm set. I don't need a quarterback.
But I think Colin, it was the face more than the other guy. Colin was the face of this more.
Absolutely. And so you got to take that. You got to take the good with the bad. If that was your stance, there's a lot of people supporting you. Some people who never supported Colin Kaepernick are supporting him now. There are people who never watch football, NFL, and say, well, I'm not supporting it. And then there's people who did watch and say, well, I can't support it now. And I'm kind of lopsided with that because, again, it's not – well, the league need to do more. Now, we know that they donated, I think it was like $190 million it was like $90 million to causes throughout black communities and stuff like that. Now, we don't know where the money came from or how it's being dished out, but we know that they're trying to do something. Yeah. Once this whole thing came out, they put this little thing with the players together.
But the issue is something had to happen for that to happen. So, anywho.
Absolutely.
To wrap this up, nonetheless, let us know how you feel about Amy Schumer supporting Colin Kaepernick, and if you think more people should. So, segueing into all of the things, lighthearted, heavy, just more personal topics. So this has definitely been floating in my mind, Snap, because I'm always inspired by the conversations I have with my girlfriends and just different people in general. I'm like, ooh, that's a podcast episode. Ooh, that's a podcast episode. But I'm also experiencing this now that as I'm getting older, I'm looking at things a lot differently. So can friends be lovers? Can lovers be friends? Okay. Have you ever dated a friend or wanted to in your past relationship? So starting with the first part, can friends be lovers? I used to have, this is just my earlier stance. I used to believe, Snap, that friends could not be together. And the reason why I used to think that was, what happens when the relationship goes awry? You all can't really go back to where you all started or what you all had. And that could be a very immature stance, right? Because if you are all communicating and I know where you're coming from, like as far as my partner, and he knows where I'm coming from, then maybe we can make this work. But I used to be like, man, I would never date a friend. And then guess what happened? Over the years, random guys that really didn't care to get to know me. And it was just kind of like, well, damn, like you made a great point when we first talked about it. Like there's this united front that guys, well, let me say this, cisgender men meaning men that identify with the sex that they were born with, will put on these united fronts just to get what they wanted. And then they will go about their merry way if they were tired of it. And so it's like, when there's cis women that are in these situationships that really want something, Snap. And so I'm in here dealing with somebody, and in your mind, you don't want anything more than whatever with me, but you're not willing to share that with me. And I'm in here like, oh my gosh, well maybe this could be somebody, and da 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 da. And it just, you feel like you just spent all this energy for nothing. Like you wasted all this energy for nothing. And so it made me really rethink, and where I am now, it really made me think about it. I was like, you know what? I have guy friends, Snap, that I have known for over 10 years that I would actually now entertain being in a relationship with them. I would, because you know me. You know me. You've seen me in various parts of my life, the progression, the growth. You know certain things about me in my life. I don't have to rebuild. Like, I don't have to start from, let me say this, I'm not going to say rebuild. I don't have to start something new.
Or portray someone you're not.
Or And I don't normally come in there. Like I'll come in the gate guarded because I don't really want to express everything to you. Because if you're not that person that is supposed to be in my life, I don't want to share something personal with you and you take that with you, right?
Absolutely.
I've already dealt with that before. So I'm in a place where I would entertain loving up on a friend.
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Ooh, talk to me.
Yeah,
talk
because
to me.
again, can lovers be friends? Can
Meaning
friends
like-
be lovers?
Okay, so yeah, starting with that question first.
So-
Can friends be lovers?
Okay, so you start off with your friend, and maybe this is a personal thing. Maybe this is why I don't have women friends, because again, you hang out with women friends, and even though it's this, it may appear to be that to other people looking on the outside. It could just be like, yo, G, me and you, we just kicking it. We like that.
But what have we discussed between ourselves? Fuck everybody else. What is it between us?
Right. Okay.
Have
and
we
so
talked about that?
And so, but again, when you have outsiders looking in and placing judgment, it kind of takes its toll. I just think as a friend, if we're going to be friends and you're the opposite sex, there's going to be some kind of attraction, even if it's just a mutual attraction where it's on the blah, blah, blah. But there aren't many people outside of maybe your work employees, your coworkers, things like that. Now, you can have friends at work, but for the most part, you're not really... A guy don't want to just be a friend with somebody he's into. If I love you, I'm like, damn, I'm feeling you, like...
Yeah, but... Not to cut you off, my bad.
No, you're fine.
If I don't know you like me, like I've had guy friends, like I have guy friends that can sleep in my bed, not touch me. I'm not interested in touching them. We're not
Right.
even cuddling. Like you're
See,
literally...
and that's why I couldn't be your friend. You see? Because... Again, it's
That's too close for comfort for you.
Yeah, and so when you're a friend, there's got to be a boundary. Now, guy friends, girlfriends, you can do that all day with your girlfriend. Guy friends have sleepovers. They get drunk. I'm gonna let you lay on the couch. Blah blah blah. You know what? Yo, I got space in my bed. Don't worry about it. We ain't on no.
But so you can't have platonic friendships.
Nah, I can't. And now that I'm in a relationship,
Well, at least you know yourself.
It's even weirder. For me to, think that I could sit down and kick it with people like that. Like I can't see myself being at home and my friend girl call up and say, yo, I'm going through some stuff. And, I just need a man to talk to.
This is what I'm saying. But you're in a relationship. So that's different. I mean, listen, guy friends to this day, until I'm in a relationship where I may have to slow that down. If my guy friend used to hit me up and people would slide through New York and they would stay with me, you can sleep in my bed. You just you can't sleep in your outside clothes because it's nasty in New York. But I have friends guy friends that I have slept in the bed with and nothing ever went down. But also in my mind, Snap, I'm not going into it wearing like sexy lingerie. I am dressed in pajama pants. Like I'm not giving you the wrong idea.
You don't have to. After midnight, something changes. It's like
it doesn't. Not if your ass is sleepy.
And so that's why I don't have like female friends. I would host a club and I would show people love. And this is just on some club shit. Like I would, I'm hugging everybody, especially the ladies, because the ladies really support you in radio. So I'm showing love, and there'll be times where I'm coming home with lipstick on the collar, makeup, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing to do with no outside, no nothing. But because I was doing that, now I'm getting into an argument at home. Like, well, who you got to have that close to you? Like,
right, and that's something that we would have to address insecurity wise, because if anything, I've seen women that wear a lot of makeup and just a brush by accident.
And that's what I'm talking
There's
about.
makeup on your shirt.
Right. So,
but you have to make sure that person is understanding and gets that, because again, if they've been scorned or hurt, where they've been lied to, because y'all don't necessarily always, not y'all, I'm not going to generalize, not all men are good at lying, and I don't think you all should be good at lying. I think you all should just be honest in relationships. But if you've been lied to enough times, it's hard to think that the next guy, when you see similar signs, right? My last boyfriend lied to me about woman's lipstick on his cheek or his shirt, and then you legitimately might be honest, but she's seen this before.
right.
Now you're just someone different. So anywho, you don't think friends can be lovers because you know yourself as a man. Snap is going to want something to go down physically with one of his female friends, especially if you're attracted to her.
Right. And
Okay,
so,
that's fair.
right, if I'm in your space and you in my space, there might just be a vibe. And it's like, so to avoid all of that, I just, Me and UG, we cool as fuck, right? And like we vibe, we at the station, we see each other, we connect. Outside of work, we'll text, blah, blah, blah. But you and I are not on the phone for 2 hours kicking it like that. You know, we not really going out to concerts together, hanging out, or seeing a artist, blah, blah, blah. And not that there's anything against you. I just know myself and know boundaries and where I got to go, right? But again, that was a part of growing up because there were times in life where I'd be like, yo, this is just a friend. Next thing you know, we sleeping with each other. And it's like, well, can we go back to the friends? And now it's a problem. So I get that whole, and that's why I'm not going to say I'm the most handsomest dude in the world. I just have this energy. I just have this I'm good people. So I consider myself to be good people.
You are.
You know, and I think I'm a fun person to be around. I ain't one of them dudes that you going to hang your head like this motherfucker coming. Like, here you go. Nah, that's not what it is. So, and I can understand, like even my girl, today, we had something. She used to tell me, yo, you need to see the signs and shit. I was one of them gullible dudes. Like, she come up to me and she going to hug me, put her hand on my chest type shit. I didn't know that was a form of affection or something like that.
It depends on who you are. Cause I actually talk sometimes with my hands. I'll slap a girl's leg, a guy's shoulder, a guy's arm, but that's just not because I'm interested.
But it's like, but why she got to touch you? And it's like, well, I don't know. I didn't, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. But so now she got me questioning myself like, wait, hold up. I can't even have you this close to me because I don't know.
So
I'm not
crazy
sure.
To me.
I'm
Okay,
not
so
sure.
Can lovers be friends?
Yes. Friends can't be lovers.
According to Snap.
Okay. But lovers can be friends to an extent. Now, she can't be your homeboy because there's certain shit you say to your homeboy that you just can't say to your lady, your lover. And I say that because there's got to be boundaries. There's certain ways that men talk to men. And it's acceptable.
Oh, I've heard how men.
It's acceptable.
Because sometimes, like, one of my guy friends will be like, I was just like, can you stop calling her a bitch, please?
Right. See, remember Trump got caught up in that on his tour bus, right, to the White House. Remember how he was talking to that reporter, and he was like, yeah, you just squeeze their ass. You a celebrity, grab 'em by the pussy. And that he didn't know that was going to be broadcast. He thought that was man-to-man shit.
And they still love him after that.
And then, but what did he do? The example was, as soon as he got off that bus, he did the exact same shit to the reporter. He kind of leaned in, had her kiss him, kind of groped up on her kind of shit,
As a married man, right?
Yeah. But this is, so it's different. And I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying guys communicate with guys differently. So once you go home and start telling your girl, your lover, and start talking to her as your best friend, like I hear stuff like that. He's my best friend. He can be your best friend when it comes to knowing that he's faithful, knowing that y'all got enough finances to take care of the bills, y'all have fun, y'all smile, y'all watch movies together, y'all have date night. That's cool. But there's a part of him that I don't know if men could all the way totally be honest, because it may hurt her feelings. Whether it could be something as simple as, like, I like the way you cook, but maybe you should do something a little different, kind of that'll hurt somebody's feelings, kind of, sort of. And I'm just using a mild example, but there are times where dudes is talking about what they lady do in their relationship. Sometimes you can't just go home and say, well, she give, or, she do, she pick up and, she don't, as to my lady, she's like, listen, I do what I do, but I can't take control of the bedroom too. And some people are stuck on that, so it's like, you want to come home and say, baby, I know we do this and we do that, but we should be doing.
But see, when I think can lovers be friends, I think about strangers. Maybe that's one perspective.
No.
Well, because the reason why I think the reason why I had thought straight from a stranger's perspective, right? One night stand. You had a one night stand with somebody, and all of a sudden y'all are actually like, it was hella cool. Y'all really feel there's no attachment
because you were never lovers. It's just a one night stand. That's a in and out kind of thing. There's no. But lovers, feeling.
I guess, like making love.
There's no feeling with that. So
can sexers be friends?
Sexers can be friends if you know that. That's because it becomes a friends with benefits thing. I can't. Okay,
that could even be.
I can't
That
be
can be troubling as well.
right. I can't be friends with my lover because I see friend as something different. As a lover, it's a totally different ball game. I'm looking for something totally different from you.
But doesn't the person that you're dating eventually become a friend to you? I guess that's what I should have said.
No, I don't want to say it becomes a friend. That person becomes a part of you.
But people feel like they marry their best friend, or they'll be like, I married my best friend.
And
or they became friends within the relationship.
Right, because remember back in the days, it wasn't the woman didn't always love the man she married. She had to grow into that.
Right.
So yes, I'm not saying it's not possible, but from my perspective, friends can't be lovers because it doesn't work. Unless you're taking that friend out of that lovers thing. If y'all gonna be lovers, that's what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna focus on
But that's your
being in
perspective,
love.
not from your experience.
Right, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Now, when you flip it, it's like there are things that as being in a relationship, I want to be able to tell you, but because I know you may take it wrong, I'm going to hold it back. And I know it's wrong. So your lady
is not your friend; she's your lover, and you keep it separate.
We laugh, we have a good time. But this is my woman. This is not my friend. Now, but this is what I'm saying. It's like,
but it depends. Okay, so you know what? To be fair, you're saying what you define as a friend. Because when I think best friend, I have less than one hand of people that I can talk to literally about every fucking thing.
Right.
That's not everybody. But I actually feel like I would want my partner to be that, right? Like with my partner, like I want to be able to be like, shit, like I just didn't win the day, or I feel down and out, or these motherfuckers are getting on my nerves at, wherever.
I can do all of that.
But you can do that with friends. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one?
Yeah, we have to because,
okay.
I totally see what you're saying.
I haven't lovers yet because I haven't had sex with a friend.
Right.
I haven't gotten there yet. Now, I might have a different song to sing later on in this podcast, Snap, and I'm going to be like, Snap, you right. Let's refer back to episode 6. But right now, I am open to it because of the things that I've been through with people that don't know me and have kind of come and gone. And
because think about it like this. Your lover should support you at all costs or whatever. Your friends don't support you like that.
That's now that I disagree with.
Your
friends should be supportive of things that you are doing if they are in line with it. Like saying, like, if I supported 45, God knows I do not support that man.
Okay.
And you don't agree with me.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. We can agree to disagree with that, but I don't expect you to stop supporting me in all of my other endeavors.
Right. But that's how I can make that separation. If I'm your lover and we're together, what you feel is right and what we feel is right together as a couple, that's how I kind of want to swing it that way. If we have disagreements, this is something personal. With your lover, you can get really personal. With friends, sometimes you don't display everything with friends because, again, based on, you don't want to be judged. You don't want them to have their opinion. And then you don't want them spreading some shit about you, blah, blah, blah.
I can see that. I could see why you refrain from saying certain things to certain people, but then that's also you knowing your people.
Right, but that's why I say you have lovers and then you have friends, because your friends, you know that there's a certain boundary you don't want to cross. You know what you can say to friends, and then I don't know, friends could be backstabbers sometimes because what you think is a friend may not really be a friend. As a lover, I expect everything out of this. Like this whole thing. There's no. I don't want to say there's no boundaries, but it's just, as a lover, I want you to be in it to win it, not judgmental in any way. Because if you're judgmental, then where do I go? My friends are going to talk shit. I go to work, I got to deal with this shit, and then I come home and you talking shit. It doesn't work. So even when, and I hate to say it, but even when I feel, I could express my opinion, I think you're wrong in this situation, but whatever you were going to do, I got to support it.
I disagree. It depends on what it is. We just got to talk it out.
Right. But again, communication is key. Mm-hmm. But there's some things that you should communicate to your lover that you can't communicate with friends.
I'm going to end it on the agree to disagree.
I'll take it.
Until I go through the friends can't be lovers. I just know, this is what I said to someone today, or we're recording this on Monday, but I am in a place in my life, Snap, where I just do not have the time or the energy to spend on somebody that does not want to really get to know me and all of me. I'm getting older. It's just too much energy spent. Let's stop wasting everybody's time. If this is not what you want, if it's not where you want to be, if I'm not someone you're interested in, if you only wanted poom poom and I'm not on board with me just wanting sex from you, then let's just keep it moving. You can find somebody else to have sex with. I'm just using this as past examples that have happened to me. It's just like, I just don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to expel this type of shit anymore. Anywho, I told y'all I'm ending off with Amerie, but before we get out of here with Amerie, Rob, how can they find you online?
ROB_OSNAP on IG and Rob Osnap on Twitter.
Do you remember our Twitter and Instagram?
Absolutely. At Black Nuance Pod on IG.
And
on Twitter, we are at Black Nuance Pod. P-O-D. Nuanced. N-U-A-N-C-E-D. Nuanced.
Nuanced. Yes, and then what platforms are we on that they can find us?
Exciteradio.com. Our world, our way.
Here he goes. Here he goes. Yep. What else?
We are on Apple, iPod.
Apple Podcast.
Damn.
Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. He just wasn't moving.
Yeah,
the way
I can't.
Sorry.
So I'm going to get it.
Yes, you are. Powered by Excitement Radio, but we are on Spotify. Subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts. If you got that iPhone, subscribe. SoundCloud, follow us. That's our main host. Thanks to them. And then Stitcher, subscribe. So we are out of here. This track that you're about to listen to, ooh-wee, is by Amerie. And it's called The Wall. Peace.